This is Esoteric Red, and I wanted to point to a couple things in Christianity that I think some of the followers don't necessarily get. Okay, so one is that, I see a lot of people talking about, the many branches of Christianity. Well, I don't know if I should believe the Catholics, the Methodists, the Baptists, the Ethiopian. But this is fixed with one of the lines in the Bible. You really don't have anything to argue about with each other. So when Christ says, that He's the vine and that you are the branches, you need to look at it as each one of those is like a branch. So Christ is what you're all springing off of, right? So Methodist would be a branch. Catholicism would be a branch. Pentecostals would be a branch. So it's not well, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. No, we all know what's tying all this together. That's the vine, and the vine is Christ. Another thing, I see a lot of Christians taking some stuff only literally, and I don't necessarily think some of the stuff is always meant to be taken literally. And one of those things is when He fed 5,000 people with just a few pieces of bread and fish. So what He did was He gave a sermon that spiritually fed those people. And that sermon has been spiritually feeding people for the last 2,000 years. And it's not even that long, just a few paragraphs. And with just a few paragraphs, He has spiritually fed not just 5,000 people, but millions. Now, I hold an opinion that He did two things. When He was here, He physically lived things like feeding 5,000 people, but it all has a spiritual meaning behind it. And what I mean to say by that is the miracles aren't random. Bringing Lazarus back from the dead. Christ is someone, that gives you life and renews you, not just physically, but spiritually, right? So bringing someone back from the dead, there's a double meaning. Or someone that He said was just asleep. They weren't really dead, they were just asleep, and He woke them up, right? You could easily point to someone that's spiritually stagnant, and at first glance, someone that's spiritually stagnant, you might be like, yeah, they're spiritually dead. No, they just need woken up. I kind of compare that to in modern times, where you might look at someone and say, hey, they're an NPC. They spent the day complaining about American Eagle blue jeans and letting AI reinforce the worst things about themselves and reinforce every one of their biases without looking into anything else. They let a news anchor talking head dictate everything they said today. But these people aren't really NPCs. Just like they weren't really dead. They can become, a playable character. I'm digressing a little bit, but take the death and resurrection. How many times have you seen a theme where, you die and you come back bigger and better, like Gandalf. So, but, it's not just a physical death and resurrection, but people can have a spiritual death and resurrection. That's what, when Jesus was talking to Nicodemus about how you need to be born again, that's sort of like a rebirth, a death, and a resurrection. So there's all kinds of like neat spiritual meanings behind the Bible and Jesus' life. And I mean, he really lived like kind of how it is. If you feel like you've woken up and you really do try to do good, put good into the world, and some of the resistance that you can have, he's a testament to endurance. And I don't consider myself a Christian, but I do find it fascinating, and I do find it as a legitimate spiritual path. His name definitely holds weight. If you're a spiritual person whatsoever, then you understand that Jesus Christ really is. There's a lot of power behind it, and that's what I find weird about the sort of vampiric side of spiritualism. Like, if it's power that you're into, why deny the power that the light has? And not the false light too, but the light, God's light. Oh yeah, I also find it interesting, the aspects of it that overlap with other religions, like Christ being in the wilderness for 40 days and the Buddha being under the tree for 40 days, and how they each got tempted 3 times. So I think that there's a lot to unpack there too. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.